This was not what I was planning on doing, but here we are. Hey everyone, I'm Grant and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit out of order because I've been working on the wiring for the past 2 weeks now, and I'll get to a point and found out I needed to order some parts. I finally think I have the majority of the parts in. So I am going to start the video by quickly showing all the stuff I had done. To just recap that real quick, at first I thought I was going to take out all the original wiring harness, but the more I looked into that, that just wasn't feasible. But I did take the dashboard out, which you will see, and I modified this. This is what I like to call the dashboard harness. This is what connects everything in the dashboard to the rest of the vehicle. And I did that because there were a lot of connectors on here that I wasn't using and a lot of wiring I wasn't using, such as all the wiring for the instrument cluster, the OBD2 port, and a couple of other things. So I stripped it down and made it the bare bones of what I need. So I'm pretty happy with this. This should work really well. But let me show you the parts I did get in and what I was actually waiting on. So a couple of things. I ended up tapping this Volkswagen ECU. It had these 4 holes that weren't tapped, and it was perfect for an M6x1 tap. And I did that so I could put these vibration isolators. And now what I can do is I actually have a spot in the firewall, and I'm going to move the camera to show this. I can mount this on the firewall, and this will have some vibration isolation from the rest of the Jeep, which I'm really excited about. And this was the final piece of the puzzle that I've been waiting on. This is called a split grommet seal. So you drill a large hole so you can pass connectors through the firewall, but it splits in half so you can wrap it around the wiring harness, which is a smaller piece, and seal it. So before I get around to drilling holes in my firewall for this, I'm going to first mount my ECU. Then I actually need to remove the factory pedal assembly because this is drive-by-wire with this unit. So I will do that next, and then I'm going to focus on figuring out all the wiring for the TDI and trying to marry the two, and we're just going to see how far we can get. So I'm going to get on it. Here's my current thought process on where I'm going to mount stuff. This is about the best place I have to mount the TDI ECU, and it's out of the way of everything, which is a real challenge because I have to be conscious of where the dashboard is, where my feet are going to be. I've got to be careful where wiring harness and everything is going to be going through the firewall. Right now I'm planning on using, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there's a plugged hole right here, which, oh, that's for the clutch. That's what that's for. Okay, so I might be using that, but the other one I've been considering using is this hole right here where the throttle assembly goes through, because I'm not going to have a use for it because I'm converting this to drive-by-wire. So yeah, I think the first thing I'm going to do is tackle removing the factory throttle pedal and installing the TDI pedal, and then I'll work on getting the ECU mounted. All right, everyone, I have the throttle pedal installed. I'm kind of surprised I was able to use that one stud from the factory to mount this thing. And It's almost 100% travel as well. I'm probably going to be at 95 to 98% in terms of what the ECU can read, but that's absolutely fine with me. I don't plan on full throttling this engine very much. I don't really do that with any of my diesels to begin with, so that is something I can absolutely live with, and it's going to be easy enough to adjust later on if I do need to get 100% throttle for whatever reason. So now that the throttle pedal is installed, I'm going to turn my attention to mounting my TDI ECU somewhere over here on the firewall, and I do need to be careful that I don't hit anything, which is going to be kind of interesting. I was as careful over here because there is absolutely nothing over here to hit, but seeing as my engine's right there, I'm going to be a little bit more careful on this one. So back to the grind. I have looked at every conceivable option, and I think what I'm going to end up doing is mounting the ECU like that. So this is going to be very tight and not as clean as I would have liked, but it's going to work. So with that said, I'm going to get to figuring out how to mount this onto my firewall. Alright, so I kind of realized that this might work, because I can actually mount that on that bracket there, and I have a bracket here. Well, I'd still like to mount it there, which that's easy enough to do, but I just realized if I mount those two things there, it shouldn't get in the way of my brake pedal, which is my main concern. Alright everyone, I realize this is a weird camera angle, but the next part I was looking at was all this. This is all the wiring that has to go into the engine bay to control the TDI. And I had it separated out because I wanted to see if I needed to drill 1 or 2 holes for this split seal. And once I line it up just right, I'm not going to be able to do it here again, but it does fit almost perfectly, so this is really good news for me. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is move the camera. This is where we're going to be drilling the hole. Get this back lined up, and this mounts like this. You want it to mount this way, that way water won't get into the seal. But I am going to mount this like this, and all the wiring is going to come out here. Yeah, I thought I was being so clever to get this ground. I'm just going to drill it real quick. And what do? I drill it on one of the few surfaces that's not flat. Alright everyone, that is all I have for this video. I am making great progress on getting to the point where I can turn this key, bump the starter, and potentially hear this TDI run. Getting the ECU mounted, I knew was going to be a challenge. I didn't think it was going to be as big of a challenge as it ended up being. I really like those split seals that I'm going to be using. These things right here, these are super handy. And I'm actually thinking about using them over here because I just realized this, I think, yep, it is bigger than the hole that's in this plate that I got from Genrite. So I'm also going to redo the wiring for my Ford 6R80 as well. Anyway, with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all again very soon. Goodbye.